Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Raw Crypto Talks Podcast. Today is Tuesday, the 12th of October. And guess what? Today we have a special guest, Mr. Chip Stites, everybody. Chip has decades of experience in the financial marketplace, and pretty soon I'll let him introduce himself. But before we do that, I gotta take care of a couple things here. And periodically I find myself with a lot of different tasking, right? There's a lot of different things that I need to get done before I can call my day complete. And one of those things is grocery shopping. So we here as a family utilize Instacart to, that's right, deliver groceries on some of those busier and just some of those busier days, and guess what? We got a special link down there in the description. If you guys check out that link and head over to Instacart, hey, you can get one of those first services on them. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Chip.
My name is Chip Stites. I've been in the financial services industry since, late 70s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a few decades.
Just a couple.
I retired a few years ago. I live in Italy right now. But during retirement and while I was working, I chanced on a particular type of portfolio. And it caught my attention. And it's something I've never left behind me. And so when I started looking at my own retirement, I realized that this kind of portfolio has no expense to it.
Mm-hmm.
It has about half of market risk to it. It has a tremendous return in terms of increasing income every year. And it started to interest me as to how that would work for retirees.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've kind of started a crusade here, Beardo,
Okay.
to stop using financial products for retirees. And for anybody who wants to learn a method of getting wealthy. There are books written about it, but you don't hear it much on financial TV or financial radio. You just don't, because it's not exciting. It's not the latest thing. It doesn't move up and down. You don't do a lot of trading. It's something that is inexpensive, easy to do, and it would work well with crypto.
That sounds very, very, very interesting. You said something that kind of made me, I guess it was very thought provoking, right? And that's those financial tools that are used and targeted towards certain individuals. And what's crazy to me is some of those tools are more so driven to make profit for the individuals who are delivering whatever that function is. It's like the main goal of helping and saving for the retiree is they're starting to be turned into numbers instead of people. Whereas we're going to be looking for you to pay for this and this, and here's a premium package with a bunch of stuff that you might not even need. I definitely understand what you're saying. So
you're absolutely correct, and there are so many ways for anybody of any age to get around that expense and to get around that risk and get around that cost that we're told by the financial industry we can't do this. You can't pick good stocks. You don't know enough.
Right. Not only that, but we're gonna put a cap on it. $25,000 if you want to day trade. If you think you know what you're doing, guess what? You need to have at least $25,000 in your portfolio before we'll let you play on our market, because we're old money.
Well, it amazes me because we aren't even talking about day trading here.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the stuff that Warren Buffett buys. We're talking about the stuff that large foundations buy first. We're talking about the stuff that makes someone wealthy over generations, not just today, not just tomorrow, but families over generations. And nobody has a vested interest in selling it because there aren't any expenses to it.
Yeah. Huh. Valid point there. So on that note, we're gonna jump into the market real quick. Go ahead and look at the top 10. And hey Chip, if you got any questions while we're going through these top 10, hey, feel free to ask, because
Sure.
I want to say that most of, probably 40% of your market dominance is just in, well, no, I know, I would say 60% of your market dominance is just in the top four, you know, and it's they definitely shift the whole entire paradigm to the left or to the right depending on how the day is doing. So just for the day, the global cryptocurrency market cap is at 2.37 trillion, and we're up 1.7 for, sorry, we are down 1.7 for the day. So Bitcoin is up 0.2 for the hour. Hold on one second here. I may have to refresh this page. Okay, sorry. So Bitcoin is down 0.2 for the hour, up 0.9 for the day, and they are up 16% for the week, right? So what we want to do when we're looking at Bitcoin is, what is it doing for the week? What is it doing for the day, right? That's going to give you the overall, how do you put it? That's going to give you the overall direction or momentum, right? Because everything, all these tokens have to ride off Bitcoin. There would be none of these other assets without Bitcoin, which means it requires some Bitcoin for these assets to thrive and do good. Some of them do good, whether Bitcoin's involved or not, and that has to do with breakthroughs in technology and blockchain research and that kind of thing. But we're not gonna get too deep into the weeds on that today. So
Beardo, where would you put Ethereum in that list?
I'm so glad you asked. Because Ethereum is number 2. And now what I'm gonna do, Chip, for those who don't know, Chip is joining us by means of Zoom. So give me a quick second here. I'm gonna see if I can actually just show you the market we're looking at. Let's see. Zoom should have a screen share. There we go. Got you. Here we go. All right. And Chip, can you see the market numbers we're looking at?
I see that you've started screen share. There they are.
Awesome. All right, cool. So I'm glad you asked. Ethereum is number 2 on that global list of 2.37 trillion. That is down 1.7 for the day. So for those who have just joined us today, like I said, special treat. It is October 12th, and we got Chip here joining us. 10 years of knowledge. If you missed his intro, we'll get back to it. So Ethereum is sitting at number 2. It is down 0.7 for the hour, down 4.1 for the day, and it is up 1.4 for the week. Looks like I'm having some internet issues here. Okay, cool. Right. So Ethereum, just a couple of notes about Ethereum for those who don't know. Ethereum is one of those assets where it's pegged to overtop Bitcoin, and that's just because of the scalability of it, right? Bitcoin's not scalable, it's not cost efficient. It's very finite, which is why the price is where it is now, but it's digital gold. So, and Ethereum, they're refining that gold into bricks, something you can build from, So then we got Tether, USDT. USDT is just dollar coin. That's it. It's not gonna go up, not gonna go down. It's gonna sit where it is. I know the numbers are green, right? And the numbers are green because that talks to the volume and the market cap. So whenever people are putting money in or taking money out, that's going to affect the volume and the market cap, because you actually have assets moving in or out of number 3. Next up, we got Cardano, one of my favorites, ADA. So ADA is a community driven asset, and by community driven asset, it has inherent features built into it to prevent certain occurrences like the monopolization of certain markets, right? You have some people who have enough money to where, they can force a market pool into whatever direction they want. But Cardano is built to counter that. You know, it's like the more you try that, the less rewards you get. But ADA is also one of those that is scaled as a national currency. For some nations, they are trying to move to Cardano, and I think Ethiopia may have moved part of their GDP over to Cardano, I believe. But that is number 4. Then we have Binance Coin coming in at number 5, right? Binance Coin is down 5.4 for the day and down 7.3 for the week. Next up is XRP or Ripple, right? Most people know it as XRP. XRP is down 6.4 for the day and they're up 3.7 for the week, right? So one of the cool things that we also like to talk about here is how each asset interacts with each other, right? So earlier, Chip, you asked about Ethereum, right?
Yep.
So the thing about Ethereum and why it's number 2 is because a majority of these functions have to go through Ethereum to even be a function. You know, Ethereum is like a solid middleman. You know, like if we had time today, I would go deeper into it, but I guess we'll save that for another conversation. So next up, we got number 7. Solana. Solana is down 6.4 for the day and it is down 16% for the week. Now, one of the other things I'm pointing out is if you take a look at that global market cap, you'll see that it's down 1.7, right? Whenever you see one of the more dominant assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum take a dip, you're going to see a majority of the market take a dip as well, because they ride on the same boat, you know. So if one has to go down, the other ones have to go down. I also like to point out this week Bitcoin hit, or was this last week? I think it was last week now. So Bitcoin hit a market cap of that is 12 zeros there. That's 1 trillion, I believe. Is that? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit a market cap of 1 trillion, and I believe it crushed that last resistance point. Ethereum didn't really get to that resistance point, but like I said, we'll talk about that later. Next up, we got Polkadot. Polkadot is down 7.4 for the day, but they're up 4.3 for the week. Coming in number 8. And USDC is at number 9. USDC is dollar coin, just US dollar coin. No real relations to the US dollar, other than the fact that it's held at $1. So it's one of those, USDC is probably one of the most liquid, stable coins that are out there. So you got a couple of different assets out there, right? Different types. So I like to look at it. Oh, one more. I'm sorry. Number 10. Gotta talk about number 10. This may not be one of my favorite assets, but I gotta talk about it because it's number 10. Dogecoin. All right. Dogecoin, Doge people, don't come after me. I'm still not a huge fan of Doge just because it's an asset that's built to eat itself. It can't scale. It just inflates. So, which is why it's still at 0.21. But Dogecoin is down 1.4 for the day. It's down 6.4 for the day and down 9.6 for the week. We got a couple of mentionables like Terra and Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu snuck to number 12. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But I did want to speak to this here, right? You have different types of assets out there, right? Different purposes for these assets, right? Some people still call these currencies. If you put your mind in the realm of these are assets, then it opens up a whole nother door to you, right? So the thing about these assets is they have different purposes, right? Let's talk about Dogecoin real quick, right? So they have different types of assets. Dogecoin is what we call a shitcoin, right? Why we call it that is because they ain't doing nothing. They're not really trying to do anything. It's just people trading in and out of it, right? it's one of the bigger ones. People like to invest into it, but it has more so to do with the promise of doing what Bitcoin did, right? Which is seeing, these types of crazy gains, but starting out at less than $50 per Bitcoin, and that's there are a lot of people holding Dogecoin, hoping that it goes up to $1. I'm sure their portfolio would be beautiful if it goes up to $1, but do your research, people. Just take a look at Dogecoin, and you'll have a better idea what's going on. Plus, a majority of it is held in Robinhood, if I'm not mistaken, which we not even gonna get started with that.
No, we aren't.
Shiba Inu, same type, right? It's just one of those meme coins, right? They're not doing anything. They're just making promises, right? We're here in 2021. It's people have already delivered on the promises that they made when Shiba Inu started. Dogecoin, same thing. You have network coins that say that we're going to start doing something, and then they start doing it, right? Like Polkadot. People ask, why is Polkadot at number 9? If we come over and we take a look at Polkadot, we'll see that Polkadot is not a shitcoin. It's a network coin, right? Or network asset, right? And that's network assets. That's something that can be built on, right? It's one of those scalable type of assets, right? So, but different assets, like I said, different assets have different purposes, right? So one of my favorite ones is gonna be Matic, and there's a reason why I'd like to show you Matic here, right? So Matic is at $1.19, right? It's down 6.64 for the day, I believe. Now, with Matic being down 6.6, that's fine. Matic is a network token that's built on the Ethereum network, right? And one of the things it lets you do is it lets you take your assets, and then it lets you move your assets for way cheaper than it would cost on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So like if I wanted to transfer my Ethereum to USDC or USDC token or whatever, it's gonna cost gas fees to switch that over, right? Gas fees can be a bit excessive depending on like network traffic, but Matic will take those gas fees that might cost you sometimes even $30 or $40, right, to switch one asset. Matic will take that under a penny, right? You'll be paying under a penny for transfers, right? And people don't know this, like there are people who are spending hundreds of dollars in just transfer fees, not knowing that you can make transfers for under a penny. Not only that, but some of these transfers even give you the ability to take your assets and then put them into a function that'll let you take a loan out of your own assets as something else, while still maintaining your assets and then growing those assets through passive yield. So I like Matic a lot. I'm a huge fan of Matic, But
Okay.
earlier we were speaking about how to take funds from how do you put it? I don't want to say from a capital perspective, but matter of fact, maybe you can pose it a little bit better, because I'm trying to figure out how we can take our strategies for cryptocurrency and then still use them in positive means to help out retirees or people who maybe they want to do something different with their funds, you know what I'm saying, while at the same time they still maintain those funds and still maintain a low cost for some of these services, right? And what do you think, Chip?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've got somewhere around 10% of my portfolio in a combination of Ethereum and Helium. And I'm just learning. I mean, when I have two things that I try to invest by. One of those ideas is Aesop's The Tortoise and the Hare. I like to take it slow. I think you win by taking it slow and easy and understanding what you're doing. The second one is Occam's razor. If I get too complicated, I got a problem because I'm an old guy, Beardo. So I have about 10% of my portfolio in crypto, and I'm learning to use it. I'm going at this slowly, the same way I advise people to learn to use stocks the same way, slowly, buying one thing at a time and only buying things that pay you to own them. Roger. So the idea of putting your Ethereum or your HNT in a bank and having it pay you interest, well, that
oh, Chip, you there?
And knowing that it's going to take you, give it 3 weeks, which doing slowly. I like the idea of learning crypto by watching what your crypto does. And so your idea of going through the top 10 makes a lot of sense, and to me was very helpful. I learned a lot.
Oh, great. I was you know, in my past career, I also was an instructor for wave propagation and radar theory. And what that left me with is just a very bad habit of over explaining things. So sometimes when I'm explaining things, I could get a little bit in the weeds, but thanks for letting me know that it gives me the warm and fuzzies that I didn't explain a little too far.
Well, when you've spent 40 years doing something, my wife tells me the same thing. She says, you gotta be simple about this. And that's why we trademarked the name Perpetual Income Engine, or PI, because we just want something that's simple, that you can buy and hold, that you can watch pay you back, just like Ethereum in your bank would, or a US dollar in your bank would. We want it to pay you back. And I firmly, I see what you're putting up there. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all.
We have a website called The Laughing Retirement. We have a Facebook group called The Laughing Retirement Community. And there's me and my wife in Matera, Italy. We live about 3 or 4 hours north of there. And October 25th through the 28th, we're having a free seminar on how to future-proof your retirement. Now, if you're 20, you can watch this or listen to this free event. Investing, because this is a better job of this than the financial services industry does. Beardo, you're trying to teach people how to use crypto.
Essentially.
How to invest in it. And what I'm trying to do is to teach people how to very, very simply, very inexpensively, on a low risk basis, how to invest for their retirement in such a way that they don't spend down their money ever. And that's one of the things that people worry about most, is running out of money.
Right.
Do it this way, you're not going to run out of money.
That's what. So, and that's the I think that's the beauty of assets. I think that's why our government is currently having an issue with how they want to tax this, because it's still capital gains and losses here. You know what I'm saying? You have Ethereum still being taxed like buildings sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how you hold it, how you have it, how you yield it. And one of the really craziest things that was redundant, but one of the craziest things that that's hard to grasp for people. So I've seen in crypto, it's literally just the just the wallet. You know, the wallet is one of the most mishandled things out there when it comes to crypto. You know, once you look at crypto like something that could grow or expand or shrink depending on how the market is going, then at that point it's like, okay, what's the purpose of this crypto? Like, yes, I'm holding it because futures say that that crypto is going to do good, or this specific asset is going to do good. But okay, they say that, but why? You know what I'm saying? Why is Ethereum number 2? You know, what's the real world application to this? Because I told somebody before, if you could have put stock into, I don't know, Alibaba or Tesla or Walmart or any of these publicly traded companies that are, you know, Apple, before things hit, if you could have put funds into those before they hit because you knew what they were doing, then you would have. You know, if you would have known that Apple was making a handheld device that would create its own how do you put it, not ecosystem, but it has its own following, it has its own community. Apple is its own community, right? And that's because they tried to create I don't have an Apple device. I do have an Apple device, but I'm more of an Android person. You know, there are two types of people out there: Apple people and everybody else, right? I'm a fan of accessibilities. But if you had those funds to get into it before it decided to 10x and get away from you, I think many people would. And I think that's why you see some people saying, oh, Ethereum is a $10,000 asset. And it's like, well, if you look at how it's built, yeah, if you want to build something on the decentralized network, which is where it's where we're going, you know, it's like in the textile industry when things began to get automated. You had people who resisted it, but it's like, no matter how much you resist time, you're still gonna age. So, like, there are ways to do this while minimizing your risk. Like, our government tries to make, and it's not on purpose, and I don't mean to use our government as the big bad boogeyman, but there are certain people who don't really understand what's going on with crypto, and all they hear is scams, this and risk that, right? And my whole thing is this: yes, it's a risk if you don't know what you're doing, right? And by you don't know what you're doing, if you're just out there trying to send crypto to some random address, you don't know what you're doing. Like, sending crypto is like sending an email. You got to know where it's coming from and where it's going to. If you know those two things, and you have just a general understanding of how to use your wallet, then the chances of you mismanaging your funds because of some weird phishing attempt are a little bit lower. A lot bit lower. I'm exaggerating when I say a little bit lower, but it's a lot bit lower. A lot of people lose their funds because they're chasing the next Bitcoin, right? And there isn't going to be a next Bitcoin, right? It's like it's like one of those weird ads where if you see somebody who is promising you the world and the stars, then the likelihood that, hey, they might not be legit. Or not even necessarily legit. It might be just a promise, you know. So, you know, Shiba Inu, for example, right? Well, we'll compare Dogecoin to Shiba Inu, right? You got Dogecoin, then you got the Shiba Army, right? Both of them have their own communities. Both of them are working on their own types of platforms. Like, both of them are trying to become network style assets, right? And they have enough capital to do it. But here's the thing: who's going to invest into it? What are they trying to do? You know, you have some assets that are trying to fight autism. You know what I'm saying? When you purchase some of that asset, they tell you, hey, you go to their website, check this out here. I'm gonna show you something real fast about these coin aggregators. CoinGecko is just one of my favorites, right? I'm a fan of the UI. And look, market's flipping. We started looking back at it right time, so the market flipped over. But let's see. Let's go with Mana or or Harmony. So if we head over here to Harmony, right, or just one is the name of this asset here, right? We go over here, we can go straight to their website from the coin aggregator. And this is all part of tokenomics. And tokenomics is just the research into the numbers and the social habits of how it all goes, with a little bit of psychology as well, but not as much. So if so I went to Harmony, right? Harmony is an open fast blockchain. Our mainnet runs Ethereum applications on secondary transaction finality, and it's over 1,000 times lower from the gas fees that you would see on Ethereum. So
wow,
300 million grants, just grants alone. You know, like they're not promising you things, they're actually doing things and keeping you updated with what they're doing. You know, a lot of people are preparing for layer 2 features whenever Ethereum is on to layer 2. And that just means those gas fees are moving away from proof of work, right? And they're moving towards proof of stake, more proof of value already. So there are different types of mining out there. You've heard mining for crypto before, right?
Yeah.
So mining for crypto is basically just a computer solving a computational problem that's being posed just to validate a type of code, right? So once that code is validated, right, the work that's being done the work that's being done produces energy or hash rates, if you will, right? That creates Bitcoin, right? That digital work that's being done, that digital verification, because I said that this is that this is a value, and you said this is a value, and millions of other people said this is a value. That value is then tested and validated and verified that all of these people says that this is worth this much money. That's just a overview of how proof of work works. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I oversimplified it, but that's just how it works. It's just a computer that validates crypto, right? Proof of stake isn't a computer doing work. It isn't a bunch of energy that's being burned, right? It's like one of those triangles where you have how much it costs on one side, how long it's going to take, right? And then you have the quality of it, right? So you have that continuum with those three, right? You can't have all three. One side's going to pull from the other. So, but before I get too far into the weeds on that, like I said, Harmony's doing something, right? We'll go over to Doge, like what we were talking about before, and we'll see what Doge is trying to do. Because, you know, Doge is number 10. Doge has like a lot of people who I know, they enjoy Doge because of the volatility of it. You know, it goes up and down, gives them a chance to make some of those up down trades and maybe trap a couple people in the market and make some money off of it, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm not mad. You know, if that's how people like to play with their funds, then hey, that's, you know, this is not financial advice. This is all just information. All right, you consult the professionals and you know, ask questions. But let's head over to Dogecoin.com. All right, so Dogecoin, right? This is their website. It's saying choose your wallet. What is Dogecoin? We know what Dogecoin is, but here, fun and friendly currency. What's with Dogecoin and the dog? You see what I'm saying? There's nothing here. They're not doing anything. Literally, they're just saying spend your money here. Give us your money. That's it. You know, hey, here's a cute little coin. This is fun, and it's a mascot. The Shiba Inu is a Japanese. It's fluff. It's mostly fluff. You know, there's nothing going on here, right? So for that reason, I like to put it like this: if they ain't doing shit, then they're shit coin, if you know they're not going anywhere and you see better opportunities elsewhere, look, unless like I said, unless you're one of those traders who can use that market to their benefit. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, be careful. I know a lot of people who tried and their pockets are left wanting. We'll say that. So let's look at Shiba real quick. So Shiba started out a whole lot lower than that, right? I think they started out maybe 6 zeros behind the decimal point, I believe, maybe even 7. They started out pretty low, right? But they started out with the same promise, right? Hey, we're gonna do some stuff. We promise we're gonna do some stuff. That's essentially what they said. Invest into us. We promise we're gonna do some stuff. A lot of people invested into them. Their funds went up. Were they trying to do stuff? They were trying. They are trying. They're still trying. But I head over to their website. It's saying, hey, decentralized meme coin. We have an ecosystem. They actually donated money to the India COVID relief fund, which I'm like, okay, so they're showing themselves to be different, right? They're trying to be different, right? They're sending some of their funds to be locked up somewhere so that you'll see a lot of assets do that. But I don't want to get too far into the methodology of how they ascertain their wealth. Like I said, I use that as a for another time. That'll be like Thursday or something like that. But they have 3 different tokens that's happening with their network. Like they're actually trying to build an ecosystem where you have people who want something and then people who want to sell something, right? If you can build that type of ecosystem, then in crypto you have a better chance at thriving, right? And that's what they're trying to do. They just hit Coinbase and a lot of other major crypto marketplaces, right? If I come over here and I just let's say I don't know where to purchase it at, I'm gonna come over here and take a look at which markets it's on, right? You have all of these different markets. All of these are places that sell Shiba Inu. Right? It's several of them. But I'll tell you this wasn't like this a few months ago. It wasn't on Coinbase. You know what I'm saying? Shiba Inu had a couple of places where you can buy from. You can get it from, plenty of decentralized locations. But as far as centralized marketplaces like Coinbase, Binance, Hotbit, YoBit, all of those, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It came there a little bit later. I think it might have hit another marketplace really, really early. But the fact that it's on Coinbase now, there are a lot of people who have Coinbase. Coinbase is, I believe, the biggest marketplace, one of the biggest marketplaces in the world. It might be the biggest, but no, I'm sorry. I think Binance is the biggest. It has a lower level of entry. But the only point that I'm making with this here is, if you look at the jump that it had, right, the increase that it had, and hold on here, let's see if I can pull it up. So if you look at the increase that it had in last 2 weeks, it's up 314% just in the last 2 weeks. And for people who who wonder what that means, it means this: if I put $100 in here, well, then 2 weeks later it would have increased by 314%. So that means I would be looking at well over $300 a gain just from the $100 that I put in there. And that's just how that math works out. It seems phony, it seems weird, but check out here where it started at, right? A year ago it was, I don't even want to try to read this number. Do you see this here, Chip? This is where it was.
This number's a tad past me.
Right. This is a percentage of growth. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's just put this.
That's
here.
27,951,112%.
Yes. That's a mouthful, and that's in the last year. A nice chunk of that? No, I'm sorry. That's in the last year. A nice chunk of that didn't even happen in the last month. This is you know. But if you look at where they were available, all right, how many people could gain access to them? What markets were they on? If you look at Dogecoin was smart when they jumped in. They was sure to jump on over on Robinhood. They jumped on Robinhood. There's a lot of people on Robinhood. There's a lot of crypto in Robinhood, but you don't necessarily own that crypto, and that's my problem with Robinhood. You know, they're custodial wallets. That means Robinhood is giving you like a permission slip for their crypto. You know, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm like, if you purchase crypto, it should be your asset. You know, you shouldn't have to get a 1099 from a company for your asset. Not 1099, but 1095, I believe. Yeah. Anyways, so that being said, like I said, market flipped over. When we started, we were down negative 1.4, I believe, and now we're down 0.6. So that's a positive move in the right direction. You see Ethereum, when we started today, Ethereum's at what, 34, right? But here's the cool part, right? This is one of the things that I like to do, and this is just a quick market analysis, right? Let's go to the trading view. So one of the things that I like to look at is higher highs, right? Lower or higher lows and higher highs is what I look for, right? And that gives me a good key into the momentum and the direction that it's going in, right? And that's how I decide how I'll make certain trades. This is just the hour view, right? But I'll use this just as an example. Well, actually, no. So we'll switch it to the day view, right? All right, so this starts on the 16th, ends on the 18th so 16th of last month to the 18th of this month, right? So you see here, right, this area right here, I don't know if I'm sure they can see it, right here where the market flips and starts to move in a upward direction, right? The fact that it closed here at 3001, right, and not too much longer closed at 3090 was a decent market signal to set us up for this bull run right here from the 31st to the 2nd, right? And that sets us up because we have higher lows here. We have a higher low here, even though we zig down, it goes back up, still a higher low from here to here, higher low, and then it closed even higher here on the 29th. And if we get closer,
looks to be doing that again.
When you'll see. So if we go over here, right, and let's do this. So let me see. We're still looking at days here. So if you look here, right, so you had a big sell off right here. Let me see. Rolls up, another big sell off, but even there. Right, this point right here, like what you were just talking about, Chip, this point right here is higher than this point right here, right? And let me see. Okay, now I went too far back. That's back in August, but it's still making the same upward progression, right? So if you take a look at how Ethereum is performing, right, and then you compare that, let's go back to the price chart, and let's say we're going to compare that to how Bitcoin is doing, right? Check this out. It has a very similar trend. Let's actually just do that. Very similar trend. Gold is Bitcoin, blue is Ethereum here. It's just a very similar trend. You know, that's it just gives you it's a bit more it's a bit more predictable, you know. It's wild, but it's still a bit more predictable. You know, it's like with these charts, you know, the longer the trend, the more accurate it is to be. You know, you think about laws of physics and how momentum works. It works the same way with these charts. But essentially, that's what I like to do. Just a little bit of market analysis, just to get a sense of the direction of things. So, and let's see if the market keeps going up, great. If it changes direction, all right, hey, just be aware, keep a look out on your assets, and things are still looking good right now. If you see, like, if Bitcoin's doing well, most things are going to do well. Just beware of the shit coin. Please.
There you go.
Yeah. And remember, if they ain't doing shit, it's probably a shit coin. So Chip,
You're probably right about that.
Chip, probably later on, not today. I want to show you some more. I want to show you one of my investments, one of my investment accounts. I think you really might like it. Right? It's a program called Aave, right? And I'm just gonna show you who they are. Number 48. So Aave is worth 282 per token, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Aave is something that you spend?
I don't know anything about it.
I love your answer. See, most people look at it like it's a currency, and it's like, how can I spend it? How can I turn it into money? And it's like, no, Aave is a function. And after we get off the live, I'll give you a quick peek of the function. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, hey, those who joined us today, thanks for stopping by Raw Crypto Talks. Chip, is there any parting words that you would like to bestow onto the listeners?
There is. If you have any questions about the free event that's coming up from the 25th to the 28th of October at noon Eastern time, email me at info at thelaughingretirement.com and just ask. It's free. I'll send you the link. It's not a problem. And
hey, that's all we got time for on Raw Crypto Talks podcast. Hey, we'll see you guys next time.